Hey, everybody, welcome to the Creepy Cascadia podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We know you guys have a just unlimited amount of choices when it comes to your listening pleasure. So, thank you for making us one of them. All right, we're leaving it in. This is like the third time we have tried to record this intro,
Yeah.
and every time we start recording, Jack starts talking. So, there you go. That is Jax. He also says hello. Thank you for tuning in.
Well, those were me, but yeah, if you
that
hear
was
a real
Adam.
cat in the background, that's Jax.
I am Sammy, one of your hosts, and I am joined by my smoke show co-host slash husband, Adam.
Yeah,
How are you today, my love?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
It's kind of a long day.
God, fucking Mondays, am I right?
Yeah, Garfield was correct.
He wasn't wrong about everything. Lasagna's fucking amazing. It's the tits. Everybody loves lasagna and orange cats. Like,
Yep.
I just don't.
Nobody likes going to the vet.
Nobody likes going to work.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. Porn stars probably like it. Just another day at the office. Yeah.
I mean, I assume if they just got money for doing nothing, they'd be all right with that too.
If I could get money for doing nothing,
Yeah.
yeah. If I could get money to like vacation, that would be my dream job.
Yeah.
Like
Then
a
you'd have
travel
to
writer.
you'd have to be one of those people who like leave thorough reviews or like takes videos as you go, like
Yeah.
an influencer does or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm not that visually like okay. Like nobody wants to watch me talk about a hotel. That's why I do a podcast, because you can't see my face. Why did you agree with that, Dick?
What? I didn't think I was agreeing to it.
You're like,
but
yeah.
No, the thought I had was, video killed the radio star. You know,
Yep.
it's like I've got a voice only a mother would love, and one built for radio.
No, a voice?
Yeah, it's what you say when people are ugly. You're like, you got a voice built for radio.
Don't you say you have a face for radio?
Maybe, I don't know.
I think that's the same.
Maybe it's nicer to say voice and just ignore the fact that you're calling them ugly.
Well, you're not ugly, is what I was getting at.
I know it's a face only a mother could love, I think.
Yeah, and you said voice, and it really threw me, because I'm like, wait, what? What?
I was twisting it into what I thought it would be for us, for the podcast.
Well, you're very handsome. Obviously, people, if you've listened to this show for any amount of time, I sexually harass him every day when we start this.
I have never thought myself A, as a handsome person,
You
B, as a vain person. But I must say, like, there was a night last week where I like caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror, and I'm like, I'm looking good. Like, the haircut is right around the right length, the beard is at the right length. Like, I'm like, the face is put together. Like,
That's what I'm saying. You always look good.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a look I'm going for, and I achieved it that night.
You achieve it every day. You sexy AF.
No, there's a sweet spot. When I get like a haircut, I feel like it's too short. And it's like, it's not fully like shaved head, big beard.
Yeah.
Like that in itself is its own look,
Like
right?
Woolly Bully. Or Woolly Willy. Isn't that a thing?
I don't know what you're trying to say, actually.
It's like those old, like, you know, the magnet things where you could put hair on the Etch-a-Sketch or
Yes,
whatever.
I know that, yeah.
I think his name is like Woolly Willy or Woolly Bully or something.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, you could take the hair away from his head and put on the beard, and it would be like bald with a big beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's a thing. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, I know that toy's a thing because it was
Yeah.
in, is it in the last episode of The Office where, when, Guten Pranken
Oh.
and
Yeah.
Jim gets Kevin and Dwight to get back and talk,
Yeah.
and he's like, I knew Dwight was missing Kevin because like he made
Oh, the Woolly
he
Willy.
made the woolly
Yeah.
that thing that you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
He made it look like Kevin.
Yep. Speaking of The Office, I saw an article today that said they could be possibly getting a reboot. And it was by Greg Daniels, who created the American series.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'd want to watch it if it didn't have all the original people in it, but.
Yeah, I mean, I liked what they did with like the reunion episode and like the whole the documentary aired.
If they did like a 6 series like limited edition where they just kind of catch up with everybody and have them all get back together again,
Yeah.
I would watch that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to watch it with like a bunch of new people.
So if it was all new actors,
Yeah.
same plot, like literally go back to the very beginning, cringe Michael Scott, you know.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff in the original series would not get put on TV today, I don't think. Like some of the jokes and things like that.
Oh yeah, I see exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I think shit, what was I gonna say? I was gonna make you know what we should do is oftentimes what you do is you do what if this movie, have you ever seen like what if the Avengers was filmed in the 90s? Who would you cast as like Iron Man, Captain America?
I've seen those on like Facebook and stuff.
What if you did that for The Office, but like now? What if The Office were filmed now? Who would you cast as Michael Scott? Who would you cast as Jim?
Ooh.
Pam?
I can't think. I would need to think on that very long and hard. That's what she said. I would have to think on that because I don't want to make a rash decision.
Right.
Like, I got to cast them real well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it would be like, you'd almost want to hit like exactly what they did with like slightly unknown. Like Steve Carell was on The Daily Show.
I didn't know that until very recently.
You didn't know he was on The Daily Show?
No, I
Him,
didn't.
Ed Helms.
Ed Helms was too?
Ed Helms was on The Daily Show.
Ed
He was
Helms
a correspondent. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. See, you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, think about John Krasinski at the time when The Office first came out.
Yeah. Like Jenna Fisher, nobody knew her.
Yeah.
Angela Kinsey. None of those people really were, they became famous because of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, right? Like, can you think of any, like was Rainn Wilson in any movies prior to The Office? Like,
I don't think so.
I mean,
I know of. They may have, but not that I know of.
yeah. They were all actors, so you would think they would have had bit parts somewhere.
They probably do as well.
things.
Like, they probably do have bit parts. I'm sure if we went on IMDb that we would be like, oh shit, they were in that? Like,
Yeah.
oh, because Rainn Wilson was in the Rob Zombie movie where he was like the merman thing. Was it the Devil's Rejects?
Devil's Rejects?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in that, which I think, now I can't say for sure if that came up before The Office or not.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
Because The Office has been out a while.
oh yeah.
It's going on 20 years soon? It was for sure out in 05.
Maybe. Did it come out the year I graduated in 04? I don't know. We'll have to look it up, but I'm curious.
Yeah.
Speaking of scary movies, Adam and I went and watched A Haunting in Venice on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
That was
We
really
should
good.
plug that movie.
Yeah, it was definitely worth the watch. We went to the theater and saw it, and it was really good.
Kept our attention the whole way through.
Uh-huh.
Buddy!
Jaxie, come here.
It's raining outside. You're safe and warm in here.
Mm-hmm.
What you got to cry about?
I want to be in the rain.
I'll give you something to cry about.
It was definitely good. Yeah, it kept our attention the entire time. We were both trying to figure out who did it. Like, it was a who done it, but there was also like the creepy paranormal aspect. And
Yeah.
it was really good.
Yeah, and without spoiling it, we can't tell you
No, we can't.
why there was the creepy paranormal aspect
Yep.
either.
But I kept my guess to myself because I hate being wrong. But I did correctly kind of guess. So I was pretty... The person. So I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and we started watching For All of Mankind on Apple TV.
Yeah.
Adam was thinking it was going to be a super sci-fi because it's about what if the U.S. weren't the first people to land on the moon and walk on the moon.
Yeah, it's what if the Russians landed on the moon before us?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm pretty sure like the showrunner, like the description on Apple TV made it sound like what if the space race continued, you know?
Yeah.
And really made it seem like that it would stretch into the future more.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a few episodes in the 60s, 70s, a few episodes in the 80s and 90s, and then I'm expecting some futuristic episodes.
Yeah.
But really, most of season 1, they're barely out of the 60s.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the focus is on like the Apollo missions.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been really good.
And we're super late to the game. This came out in 2019.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that lets us binge though.
It does, and we do love to binge shows. So Saturday we got back from, we had a bunch of errands to do, and we like ran around, and we got back on Saturday afternoon, and I was like, oh, I'm so tired because I didn't sleep good Friday night, so I was like, I'm gonna take a nap. So I was like laying on the couch, Adam turned the show on, and I was like, God damn it, like I kept getting invested, and so I was like trying to close my eyes, but then I was still listening to the show, and then I was like, oh wait, what? So then I have to like look, and I didn't get a nap in because I got too invested in the show.
Yeah, and again, I only turned it on because I thought it would be some sci-fi show that wouldn't be all that good, you know, that you wouldn't get invested in.
Yeah, but it is good. I'm invested now.
Yeah. It really does seem that a lot of the Apple TV shows are fairly well done.
Yeah, I agree. Like Ted Lasso. Oh,
God. Chef's kiss.
That is just the perfect that TV show has a special place in my heart. Like I love that show.
Yeah.
It's so wholesome.
It is so wholesome. See, but that's like Ted Lasso in my mind stands out amongst the Apple TV shows in that it has that niche.
Yep.
The other shows on Apple TV just seem very well written, very well shot, very, again, just all around decent.
Yeah.
They don't rely on gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, that's maybe why I put Ted Lasso as like an outlier, because in my mind, the gimmick is the wholesomeness of it.
Yeah. But it's not overly. It's not, I mean, there's some crude humor in there, and, you know, but it's such a, I don't even know. I love it so much. If you guys haven't watched Ted Lasso, we got Apple TV subscription just to watch it.
Yeah.
And then we've actually found other shows on there that we like too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
ready to jump into the new today's episode?
I have an announcement.
Okay.
So it's officially fall. This past Saturday was the first day of fall.
Okay.
And that also means that we are super close to our 1-year podiversary.
Podiversary or podiverse?
Podiversary.
I heard potiversary and I'm like,
not that kind of show.
Yeah.
Now, if you
It'd be a
guys
different
want
podcast. Yeah.
A podcast. There are podcasts, I think, where people get stoned and talk about stuff, and they're hilarious.
It's called the Joe Rogan Show.
Yeah. Yeah. It's our 1-year podiversary. So October 3rd, 2022 is when we launched our show.
Okay.
So next Wednesday is October 4th.
Yep. So that'll actually mark the year.
Yeah, it'll be a year and a day.
Yeah.
But that's going to be our 1 year. We've been at this a whole year. So that's really kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
You know? And we want to thank you guys, the people that have downloaded us and given us ratings and reviews. Thank you guys so much. It really means the world to us. The more people rate and review us and download us, it helps us become more searchable, more visible, all the things. So, and you know, we have dreams for this podcast, and we can't do any of it without you guys. So thank you guys. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
We all
Much
do.
appreciated.
But anyways, with all of that mushy nostalgia out the way.
Are we going to do a clip show? Just all the best jokes?
It would just be everything that came out of my mouth because I'm so funny. I make myself laugh so much.
Oh my God. What if our 1-year episode was the exact length of all the previous episodes from the year before?
Be
We're
like,
hitting you with the highlights, just a massive episode, just every episode on top of each other. Be like, that's not a thing. Don't do that.
That's not how this works.
It's not how this
That's
works.
not how any of this works. So, before we get into this week's case,
Yeah.
I have a question for you,
All right.
my love.
Yeah.
Have you ever stayed in a place that's rumored to be haunted? Like a hotel, someone's house, an army barrack, perhaps?
I don't think I have.
No?
Yeah.
Well, we need to change that.
I don't think I've, yeah. Might be one reason why I'm so unbelieving, because I haven't ever had any kind of one of those experiences.
You guys, okay. We have this thing. The past 2 weeks or so, when we go to bed, we have our routine, right? We shut down the house, we turn off the TV, we come downstairs. There has been 4 or 5 mornings where I have gone upstairs and the TV has been turned back on. I jokingly have been saying the ghost is watching TV, right? And Adam's like, the cats are doing it. I'm like, the cats are not turning on the TV. But we can't figure out what's causing it. I don't know if it's like a short in the remote or something, but maybe it's a ghost. Maybe the ghost is like, oh yeah, they've been binge watching The Office. Let me get these episodes in.
They were like, we heard Apple TV's really good.
Yeah, they got a great lineup of shows. Yeah. All right, so no places you've stayed.
Yeah, I really can't think of any. I mean, legitimately, the only place that really I had to even worry or think about that was when I moved into this house.
Really?
Right?
Why?
So I don't know, without going into too much detail, the bedroom arrangements, I would always hear, when I first moved into the house, I would hear noises upstairs.
I told you. I've heard that too when I started staying here.
Yeah. But there's a rational explanation for what it is.
Okay, what is it?
So it took me a while to figure it out. Like, I would go upstairs, like I'd hear the noises, I'd go upstairs, be like, who's breaking into my house? I just bought the house. It's like, does it creak? Does it whatever? I bought it around early fall.
Yeah.
Like
and it
Labor
is hard.
Day.
You have to get used to new sounds and new houses. Like anytime you move, the house is going to have a different set of sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my apartment before I moved in here was like 3rd story, off the road, very quiet. Yeah, just like you just didn't hear anything in all reality.
Yeah.
Like wooded on the backside, so
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I moved here where like kind of up against the not a major road, but you can hear traffic. Yeah. If you stay in our guest room upstairs, you will hear the traffic on the road.
I mean, shoot, we hear it down here sometimes.
Yeah, you could. Oh, yeah, you could definitely hear when people are like "Brrr," just barreling up the hill.
Those people laying on with their big ass lifted trucks and their exhaust pipes and their little peepees.
Yeah, I feel like we can hear it on like the front of the house, and then there's some road, like another road that I always thought was like a dead end road, but people seem to barrel down it too. People tend to barrel down it too behind the house. But so the noise, okay.
Hit me. Choke me, devil daddy.
So other than the woodpecker,
Yeah, that fucker.
that was its own terrible noise. But so the noise that you hear in our bedroom late at night, and it can happen really anytime. It doesn't have to be a stormy night, perhaps, but you will hear it more on a stormy night.
Perchance.
There is cables from the attic hanging down the side of the house. On the outside of the house. So when the wind hits that thing, all it does is like sway back and forth up against the house, making that like scratching, kind of, and if you get some wind, it'll like thwap against the house a little bit. But yeah,
So
that's the number one thing. I think if we took care of those wires, we wouldn't hear that noise ever or as much.
I don't believe you.
Okay.
I've heard that noise upstairs, like when I work from home. I'll hear it when I'm at the kitchen table.
Yeah.
It is not the same sound that I'm hearing at night.
Okay.
It sounds like footsteps.
Which one? The one at night or the one when you're...
The one at night.
Yeah.
I did wonder what that noise was. Like, I always heard a noise, and I knew it had to be something outside the house, but I couldn't figure out what it was. So that makes sense that that's what that is when I hear that noise. I don't think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's the ghost watching The Office. That's funny, though. You never told me that when you moved, like,
Yeah. Like, it was... I mean, so when I first moved in, my parents helped me move, so they were in the spare room, so I just chalked any noise to them being up.
Right.
But then when they left and I was in the house alone...
All right, it's not them.
I was like, yeah. So yeah. So not to say that our house is haunted, but our house would have to be one of the
places where you
like it.
Like kind of question, like, ooh, what's that?
Yeah.
Love that for you.
Yeah.
It was just a precursor to your spooky bitch that you were about to meet.
Right. Just getting me ready.
Yep.
I mean, what? I bought the house and we met like within 2 months.
Yeah, you bought the house, in September?
Yeah.
And we started dating in October?
Yep.
Yep. So, yeah.
That's what people told me. People were like, you're going to buy a house and then the women are going to come to you.
I mean, how long had we both been on Tinder and like dating sites
prior
to that?
A while. So long. Dating was so horrible.
God, it was the worst. But yeah, I mean, it was because I had moved up to Kent. And it was like a few months after I moved up to Kent, we matched on Tinder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
how does this launch into... Are we talking about a haunted house today?
We're talking about a haunted hotel.
Haunted hotel, okay.
That I have actually been to and stayed at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What up?
Speaking of, didn't we just buy a book at Goodwill? Like 30 haunted homes or places in the U.S.?
Across America?
Across America?
Yeah, I'm excited to dig in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See if there's any vacation destinations in there.
Yeah, that we could go to.
Yeah.
And stay at.
I'm fine just visiting.
But you don't get the full experience if you don't stay overnight.
I think the people should just try to fool me when I'm there for the 2-hour tour versus trying to stay up all night making me think that place is haunted. Just the skeptic in me talking there.
You don't believe, so what's the point? Okay, so as you may have guessed by my question, and you did, today we are talking about a haunted hotel / castle. So it's located in Port Townsend, Washington, and Manresa Castle is the name. It's located at 651 Cleveland Street in Port Townsend, Washington, 98368. In case anybody wants to go visit it. And it's a very pretty hotel. Like, it's a very cool looking castle.
Okay. I think I might have driven by it because I've been to Port Townsend a few times.
Okay. Yeah, it's up on the hill. Its Gothic exterior looks perfectly at home against the gloomy gray Pacific Northwest skyline, in my opinion. That was my little creative writing
that
I threw in there today.
Should do that more. That was nice.
Thank you. It's been the subject of multiple ghost hunts, paranormal investigations, and it was even featured on an episode of Ghost Hunters with our buddy Zach Bagans.
Oh, our buddy?
Well, I don't know. He's so controversial, I feel like.
Yeah. I feel like if we met him, I'd be like, I'm not your buddy, guy.
I'm not your guy, buddy.
Not your guy, friend.
Yeah. Okay. The massive castle was built by Charles and Kate Eisenbice and was completed in 1892. Now, as you may have guessed, the couple was quite wealthy and they were pretty upstanding citizens in Port Townsend. Just a little bit about Port Townsend. It was the first, and it still is the only incorporated town in Jefferson County, Washington.
Really? Okay.
Which I didn't know that until I was researching this.
Yeah. I thought there were a few towns on the way, but okay.
There's towns, but they're not incorporated.
Okay.
It's the county seat, and it was officially incorporated in 1851. In 2020, which was the latest census, the population of Port Townsend was just over 10,000. And it's a really pretty town. Like, it's a very beautiful coastal town. They are large. They have a large tourism industry there. It has a few major industries as well, healthcare and a paper mill.
Okay.
Yeah.
And wasn't there a fort?
Is it Fort Worden?
Yeah, it might be like Fort Worden or something there.
There's several forts, I think, throughout Washington, so I wouldn't doubt that there's...
It'd be a good spot right there on the Sound.
Oh, yeah.
Like, as the Sound comes in from the ocean.
It might be Fort Worden.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, now let's go back. Now, back in 1851, when the town was first incorporated, prominent citizen Charles Eisenbice was actually elected the very first mayor of Port Townsend. Charles himself was born on July 10th, 1832 in... All right, I'm going to probably totally butcher this, but I'm going to try.
Yeah.
Spießermühl, Germany.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So they also said he was from Prussia.
Okay.
So
Okay.
he was from Germany.
Yeah.
He immigrated to the U.S. in 1856 when he was just 24 years old with his brother. He ended up in Port Townsend by way of New York and San Francisco, and he finally settled in Port Townsend after a rough boat ride where he was actually intending to land in Steilacoom. So he got real sick, and he's like, I'm getting off this boat.
Okay.
He did go to Steilacoom, but he ended up coming back to Port Townsend, and that's where he kind of settled.
Yeah, I don't think I know where Steilacoom is.
It's near Tacoma, I want to say.
Okay, so like around the Sound.
Yeah, it's still around the Sound.
Tacoma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also gonna say that I got a buddy who really knows German really well. He's probably gonna send me the correct pronunciation of.
Is that George?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, George will probably tell me. Next
I
time we
mean,
see
I
him,
was
if
waiting.
he served this episode.
I
Yep.
was waiting for you because you lived in Germany for a while.
Yeah, I could order McDonald's in German and get around. Like I didn't.
Oh, I can get around in Germany.
Yeah.
Spanken the Deutsch.
Spankens the Deutsch is that?
Yeah, like get around. Like.
If I remember right, it's like Sprechen Sie Deutsch.
What does that mean? Speaking?
Do you speak German? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so George would go on to own several businesses.
George?
God damn it.
There's an outtake for my buddy right there. Yeah. I was like, I thought his name was Charles.
It was Charles.
Yeah. Eisenbice. I like that last name.
Eisenbice. Yep.
Eisenbice.
So Charles would go on to own several businesses. He had like a bakery, a brewery, all kinds of things. Several businesses in Port Townsend. And like I said before, he became the town's first mayor.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as a port, like I'm thinking brothels.
So funny side note that I did not include.
Okay.
But I will bring it up because you said it. So, and I don't know if this term is like politically correct.
Okay.
But what they refer to as like Shanghaiing.
Yeah.
So Port Townsend was bad for that. And
Yeah.
in case anybody doesn't know, what that is boats, like local bars and brothels would get people super, super hammered. And then they would literally take them underground and take them out to boats where they would then be forced to stay on the boats and work.
Yeah.
They would essentially just like kidnap people and make them work on their boats.
Yeah.
And that was a big problem in Port Townsend.
Okay.
When I did the walking tour, which I will talk about a little bit later.
Okay.
They talked about how that was a big problem in the town and how they had to work to get rid of it. So you may not be far off.
Well, yeah, I mean, right? Yeah. If we're going to talk about it later, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, like, you wake up hungover and you're out to sea. What are you going to do other than lead a mutiny or do what they say?
Exactly. So, okay. So back to Charles. So he and his second wife, Kate, would construct the massive castle, originally referred to as Eisenbice Castle, which at the time was the largest private residence in the town of Port Townsend.
Okay.
It was made of brick on the exterior, and it was designed to look like the castles back in Charles's German hometown.
Okay.
of Prussia. They said Prussia, but they also said the Spicer Mule.
Yeah.
So he was in Germany.
Yeah, I was gonna say you didn't Google.
I tried to. I could not get the pronunciation.
Couldn't get the.
No,
Okay.
it kept giving me other words, but it wouldn't give me that pronunciation. So I apologize.
Yeah.
Apparently, my German heritage hasn't kicked in yet.
Well, yeah, it might be troublesome, right? Like how Germans call their own towns. Like we don't, Munich is like München or whatever. Like it's not spelled like Munich when you're there. Like it's.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like I was always like put off by that. I'm like, that's not right. I mean, my town of Ansbach looked like Ansbach, but
yeah.
but there were a few that didn't.
Yeah.
So.
That's fair.
Okay.
I mean, people probably pronounce it Wallapa.
Yeah.
So it was the largest private residence. The castle itself had 30 rooms in the original structure and was only enjoyed by Charles for about 10 years as he passed away in 1902. Yeah.
Okay.
After Charles passed, Kate would eventually remarry and leave the castle behind. So it sat empty for about 20 years with only a caretaker tending the property.
Okay.
Yep.
Why is there always a caretaker with like a castle like that?
Because if you're rich, you don't do your own yard work. You pay somebody to do it.
Even after you've left, they're just like, well, as long as I'm being paid, I might as well keep doing this thing.
As long as them checks a keep a coming, I'm going to keep caring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Master will return.
He was out there like, all I'm picturing is like Voldemort in the caretaker at his house or his parents' house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nagini. The home was briefly bought by a Seattle attorney in 1925 who planned to use it as a sort of vacation spot for nuns who worked in schools in Seattle, in nearby Seattle.
Okay. He's going to like cash in on that like charitable
thing,
or was he trying to like get with some nuns?
Hard to say.
They're like notorious for not getting with dudes.
Yeah, but
he was a lawyer. He's like, I talk slick.
I don't know. Maybe he was like, I'm gonna convert them out of Catholicism.
I don't know.
Nuns are Catholic, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I got it.
Yeah, when you say nuns, I think Catholic.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. But that actually didn't pan out, and the property was again sold to a group of Jesuit priests who converted it to a training college for studying priests.
Okay.
They added a chapel and additional rooms to house more student priests. They also covered up the brick exterior with stucco to match the addition, which I'm like, oh man, it'd be so cool to see it bricked up, you know?
Yeah.
Did you know that bricked up is also another term for having a boner? I've heard it in rock music.
That was not where I thought that was going.
Bricked up. It's a term.
Okay.
So that the more you know.
Yeah. The more you know, indeed. I was gonna throw in my 2 cents,
Okay.
Between trying to make it a vacation for nuns and a training ground for Jesuit priests. Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking of like the repressed sexual energy being pumped into this place.
Something was being pumped in.
Yeah. Like, sorry. Okay, hold on. I gotta get my bearing here. Oh my god, the scientist in me wanted to calculate the equivalence of Jesuit priests and nuns to like a horny teenage boy, like, like 10 Jesuit priests in training is the equivalent of like one horny teenage boy. Like repressed sexual energy.
I mean, and they are repressed.
Yeah.
That's no fun.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes they slip, as we're gonna talk about later.
Yeah, 10-1 probably isn't the right ratio then.
I was waiting for you to be like, so scientifically, that would mean that there are approximately so many gallons of jizz every month at this place.
Oh.
That's what I was waiting for. Because when you said the scientist in me, and I was like, oh.
How else does the stucco stay on the walls?
It wasn't stucco, it was sticky.
They was bricked up.
High five on that one. That was a good
Yeah,
one.
that was good.
Oh, shit.
We're gonna need a minute. Sorry, my mind went really dirty. You know, it's like
That's what we do.
it's two nuns to every horny gal. It's just an FFM video.
FFM.
Female, male.
Oh.
It's a threesome video. That's what you see. Yeah.
Okay.
You're probably used to the MMF videos.
I am. It's like MMF.
What's the record of like the biggest gangbang? Just F.
You know what you just sounded like? Oh, this is a very random, very, very random, like, whatever you just, that triggered me was on the Great Outdoors, the dude that's been struck by lightning a bunch of times, and he's like, and I ran! And you're like, That's what it
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh. Hey. I know John Candy wasn't the character, but I'd take any comparison to a John Candy movie.
Oh,
I'll take.
God.
Yeah.
He was the fucking best.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Settle.
Yep. So the priest would remain at Manresa until 1968 when it was sold and converted into a hotel. Now, I've heard it pronounced Manresa and Manresa.
Okay.
I've always pronounced it Manresa, so that's how I'm going to pronounce it in the episode because that's what I have always pronounced it as. I'm not 100% sure, so
Okay.
that's what we going to do.
Okay.
So the property has changed hands only 3 times since 1968 and since becoming a hotel. And numerous improvements have been made, all while keeping the historical charm, right? Like, you don't want to mess up It still looks very Victorian.
Okay.
Inside.
Yeah.
The property can be used for meetings, conferences, weddings, or just a spooky stay in Port Townsend.
Okay.
It has about 40 guest rooms, and in looking at their website, they did have an on-site bar, lounge, restaurant area, but it was recently shut down. It sounds like the owners were leasing the space to like a third party to run, and the third party didn't renew their lease, I'm assuming.
Okay.
So, but don't let that stop you because there are plenty of good dining options in Port Townsend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, let's get to the hauntings because that is what we are here for after all.
I was like, this is a whole lot of place setting for like, you know.
I just like to give a little background.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
hold on to your dookie. We're about to get spooky.
Okay. I like that phrase. That's
Me
a good
too.
catchphrase.
I want to get a sign that says that. And trigger warning, some of the tales we're going to talk about do involve suicide and child death, so please use care when listening. So first off, most importantly, many of these stories have not been substantiated, so we can't confirm that they're true. But this is just what makes the legend of Manresa Castle Manresa. So please don't take these as fact. They're just the local legends that surround the castle. So let's start with the rooms that are supposed to see the most paranormal activity. And they're all on the 3rd floor. It's 302, 304, and 306.
Okay.
I do appreciate that they kept all even numbers. Love that.
Yeah, are they all on the same side of the building then?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's start with 302. It is rumored that the ghost of a Jesuit priest haunts this room. According to rumors, the priest took his own life in the attic above room 302. As the story goes, the priest had lost his faith and he decided to end his life by hanging himself. Also, alternate story that I did see was that he had succumbed to his carnal desires with a nun and then felt really bad about it, about slipping, and that's why he decided to end his own life.
Yeah. Was it consensual or was it?
Well, I don't know. It didn't say. It just said he got busy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if it wasn't consensual, it's like
Even worse, but
yeah. I mean, I'm like one less rapists in the world. Like, okay.
yeah, I don't
You
think
know what I mean?
that was never
Let's
mentioned
go not that
anywhere.
way,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was never mentioned anywhere, so I don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
So if this is true, that's an extremely violent way to die. So, and I've said this so many times, but I believe a space can hold on to energy. So if, a priest was in such a desperate mental state, you have to imagine that there was just so much turmoil and energy,
Yeah.
just energy that was not in a good space. So it's not a far stretch to think that maybe his energy or soul is stuck in that space.
Yeah, I think most people who attempt or complete suicide, like, they don't do it lightly. It's not a spur of the moment decision.
No.
I usually think of it as like very weighty, very struggle related. So yeah, like
Yeah.
I can understand some bad energy in the room.
Just desperation,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's sadly another rumor of a suicide that occurred at the castle. A woman who has been called Kate, not the same Kate who was married to Charles.
Okay.
She's also sometimes referred to as English Kate, and her story is one that's a tale as old as time.
Okay. You going Disney on me?
Time. Well, most of Disney's fairy tales are based on super like fucked up fairy tales, like grim fairy tales.
Yeah.
They just lighten them up for
Yeah.
the younger audiences. So yeah, sure,
Yeah.
it's straight out of fairy tale. Her story, like I said, she was staying at the hotel in 1921 while waiting for her love to return from the sea. After news that his ship had been lost at sea or sunk, Kate was so distraught that she jumped from the window in room 306.
Oh, okay.
After her death, it was revealed that her love had actually survived. Very Romeo and Juliet.
Very Princess Bride.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I immediately went to Romeo and Juliet.
I prefer Princess Bride.
Well, yeah, it's fair. That's fair.
Fair.
Marriage.
Yeah, I never got into the Leo and Claire Danes.
Oh, man.
Romeo
I
and Juliet
loved that movie.
Yeah.
I think a lot of preteen, like millennials my age, very much dug that movie.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Very sexual tension and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And John Leguizamo was just like, ooh, chef's kiss in that movie. I just love him. He's so funny.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Now there is another version of that story.
Okay.
So it is still Kate with her fiance at sea. It said that Kate became pregnant after a night on the town while her fiance was still out to sea.
Ooh.
Again, ship sank, but when Kate found out her fiance had survived, she didn't know what to do because she was pregnant with another man's child. And her fear and shame over the situation drove her to suicide, jumping from room 306.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the act is the same, but the reasoning is different.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I will say that those two rumors, some people think that it came from a bartender who worked there years ago. I think the current owners, if I'm remembering correctly, don't really play into the whole haunted castle thing.
Okay.
And they've said that somebody just made those up. But who's to say?
Okay. Did they get more reservations for these 3 rooms than any other rooms?
Probably, because when I tried to stay there, those rooms were booked.
Okay.
So there are also rumors of a ghost child being present in the castle, although no one is sure of the child's origins. Some people think it is...
Comes from his father's balls.
God. Everybody comes from their father's balls.
Every kid's origin is from his father's balls.
Fair, you're not wrong.
Except little baby Jesus.
On the Ghost Hunter episode, which I did watch, they very heavily lean into this theory of a child. A housekeeper at the hotel describes an incident where she was physically assaulted by what she thought to be a spirit. And they thought it was a child spirit because she had this massive bruise that was a result of the attack. But it was the size of a child's hand. Like, it was roughly the size of a child's hand.
Okay. So viciously attacked, but small markings.
Yeah, like a bruise that looked like a kid's hand.
Okay. Was that a TikTok you showed me recently where it's like my brother smacks me, and then it was like a giant. It was a ginormous handprint.
It's like somebody with their back turned, and there's somebody sitting next to them, and there's a massive, like, welted handprint, and it's like when your sibling barely touched you.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Now, on that episode of Ghost Hunter, she also said that she had, like, come back the next day and told the spirit you can't do that, and then she got slapped in the face. Like, bitch, what did the pan say to the face? Smack!
I was gonna say, doesn't sound like a kid.
No. So some people attribute the child entity to Charles' granddaughter Lotta, who she sadly passed away when she was only 13 due to a heart infection in 1907. She passed at a hospital in Seattle, but some believe her spirit made its way back to Manresa.
Okay. When you say Lotta, why am I thinking of Big Mouth? What's the blonde girl?
Lola.
Lola! Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Andrew! Oh my God!
Some rich little kid.
I'm wearing my mom's thong!
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah.
They also talked about on the Ghost Hunter episode that there was a weird, like, child's coffin that was found in the Eisenbeis in Charles's tomb, but nobody knew who it was or where, like, where it could come from. So maybe that's a mystery in and of its own.
Yeah. Maybe he was covering up things.
Perhaps. Maybe he had a secret love child. That happened all the time back in the day.
Yeah. 30 rooms, they could have one family on this wing and another family in the other wing.
They might never ever meet.
Yeah.
So, you may be asking yourself, what makes this place so haunted? And here's the thing I'm going to tell you. Okay?
You mean we haven't covered already why it's so haunted?
Well, we talked about the ghosts that are haunting it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
General paranormal activity, such as lights turning on and off on their own, cold spots, weird smells, doors opening on their own accord. All your typical paranormal activity.
Okay.
Guests and staff have reported hearing unexplained footsteps above room 302, which is where the priest is rumored to have ended his life. In room 306, the one where Kate ended her life, that room has reports of guests, things being moved around the room, and also drawers being left open, which I would question myself if that happened, because I'm always losing my shit or finding it in weird spots. Like, oh, fuck, how'd that end up there?
Yeah, I've seen the TikToks. That's like an ADHD thing,
I was
right?
literally going to say, maybe it's not my ADHD. Maybe it's a ghost just messing with me.
Maybe the ghost back then had ADHD.
Perhaps. But back to Kate. Okay. She also seems to be very interested in guest shoes, which, like, same.
Oh, yeah?
There's also reports of her appearing in this room as well. She's described as having long, dark hair and dressed in a white, flowy dress. Very typical apparition sighting.
Okay.
Guests have also reported hearing a woman singing in the bathroom. Which, again, same. I do that all the time. I sing in the bathroom all the time.
Lots of people do.
Yeah. And the cats don't like it.
Yeah.
They come running when I do that. Yeah. Okay. So there are also reports throughout different areas of the hotel of paranormal activity in the chapel area, which has since been converted into a banquet dining area. Guests and staff have reported feeling as though they are being watched. Glassware has been moved or broken even in that area. And psychics and mediums, other paranormal investigators who have been to the mansion or the castle have reported feeling a strong presence in the attics and chapel.
Okay.
Or attic and chapel. So, like I said before, I've actually stayed here with some friends. We did a ghost hunting weekend. It was the weekend before I met you, actually.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
And it was a good weekend, so...
I think I've heard stories about this weekend.
Yeah, so memories all around are pretty good on that trip. I'm pretty sure I told the girls, like, I had a date on Halloween with a cute guy that was taking me to a haunted house for our first date, and then I jokingly said, oh yeah, I think I met my soulmate. Like, we haven't met yet, but he's my soulmate. Yeah. And look at... Now we're married doing a podcast together.
And we're soulmates.
We are soulmates. Yeah, I was going to say, we are. Take it back.
I'm saying were, then, still are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you got any stories from when you stayed there?
I do. So we did a walking tour around Port Townsend because they had like a ghost walking tour, and while we didn't see any actual ghosts anywhere, we did have a few odd experiences at the hotel during our stay. A cabinet kept like opening on its own and creaking, which could be just an old,
Yeah.
drawers sometimes open. Um we heard odd noises that like we could not contribute to any rational source. I will say that certain areas of the hotel gave all of us girls like a very creepy vibe. Like the bathroom in our room, we were doing buddy system to go pee because it was such a weird feeling in the bathroom.
Okay.
Like I literally, when I was taking a shower, I constantly like was turning around. Like I was scared to close my eyes to rinse out my shampoo because it felt like I was being watched.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just check behind the mirror.
Oh, I didn't. Maybe I was being watched.
See if it was like a two-way mirror. Or
Sorry, buddy. I mean, if you're creeping on me, joke's on you. But yeah, that was how creepy it felt. And the best part was, so at like midnight, we decided to go up to the third floor because we were staying on the second floor.
Yeah.
And we were outside of room 302, and the door started to open. And me and my friend Mindy were standing in there, and I about shit my pants. And she tried to like push me towards the door so she could run away. And I was like, fuck no! And I like pushed her towards the door and took off running. And this like 12-year-old kid comes out and he's like, hey, are you guys ghost hunting? And we're all dying because we're like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ, you little shithead, you scared the shit out of us. Like, so then he told us about, he was there with his dad, and he had brought like an EMF detector.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was super funny. That was the funniest part of that whole trip. Like, we were like, she tried to push me, and I'm like, fuck no! I'm out!
I remember you telling me that story, but I guess I didn't realize that the kid was coming out of 302 or one of the haunted rooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Okay.
It was 302 or 304. We were we were outside of one of the haunted rooms.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bathroom.
Yeah.
It was very. I mean,
Did you take that kid back to your bathroom to see the EMF
No,
reading?
no, we didn't. We did not take him back to our bathroom. He was a 12-year-old. Who wants to hang out with a 12-year-old? We're like, shouldn't you?
He wants to hang out with you.
We're like, shouldn't you be in bed? Because there was like 4 of us girls, I think I was just over 30, and.
Where does he get all these toys?
Yeah, he was with his dad. So,
yeah.
But yeah, there were certain areas we didn't really feel anything around those haunted areas, but our bathroom.
Yeah.
All 4 of us, because there were 4 of us girls staying there. We literally used the buddy system to go pee because we did not want to be in that bathroom by ourselves.
Yeah.
It was pretty creepy.
Okay.
So, like I said, a lot of that stuff has not been substantiated, so I can't say for sure whether or not this place is haunted, because there's always rumors, and like I said, none of them have been proved. But with the rumors of it being haunted, it is hard to go in without a bias. Like, we went specifically for ghost hunting.
Yeah.
And we wanted to be scared. And there's actually a lot of places around Port Townsend that are supposed to be haunted, so, take your pick.
Yeah, when you mentioned the Shanghaiing earlier, I don't know if that'll make the cut or not, but I thought the brothels would like kill sailors and rob them.
That probably happened too.
Yeah.
Or like the working girls got killed because a dude didn't like his service.
Yeah.
You just don't know. And this was wild times.
Yeah, to where like Port Townsend definitely has like shady history, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that could be said for all of America. But I will say that there was an eerie feeling in that castle.
Yeah.
So Adam, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a really cool place.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe at some point you and I need to...
We should go
up there and stay.
You know what's funny?
And you can go with all your bias, and I'll go with all my skepticism, and...
We'll see what happens.
You
know what's funny?
What's funny? Well,
I just remembered this. So when we went there, I had like posted, "Oh, we made it to the castle," and posted on Facebook. My cousin's husband texted me, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, Me and your cousin went there for our honeymoon. Like, his grandpa had been there, I think.
Yeah.
Also, I can't remember exactly what the story was, but him and my cousin went there for their honeymoon, and I was like, oh, I hope we don't get the same room you guys were in.
Where they were having their honeymoon.
Where they were having their honeymoon.
They were releasing some good energy to counter the bad repressed sexual energy.
Apparently.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally forgot about that until just now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Came out of the room like, these pipes are clean.
God.
This room has been cleansed.
Praise Jeebus. So yeah, thoughts.
Right. So any town that's on, I remember from my visits, like that place is like super windy.
Mm-hmm. It is. Windy AF.
Windy AF. Because it's on, I don't know what they call that strait. I don't think it's called the Sound, right? When it's like that body of water between us and Canada from the coast to the Sound. Like I always think of the Sound as the north-south.
Is it like the Strait of Juan de
version.
Fuca?
Yeah, it might be like that, right?
Okay.
It might be a strait.
Okay.
Whether that's the right strait, I don't know. Quick Google search would tell me. Sure. Where did we go? We went to an island that was kind of on the northern side. Or because we haven't been in Canada.
Mm-mm.
Right?
No.
So it must have been an island kind of on the north side. When we went to Whidbey.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So Port Townsend's on the south side. There's wind on both sides of that strait.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's just how it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the ocean coming in, and basically, yeah, there's no mountains, no nothing to stop any of those winds.
Yeah.
So if you have a big house, like a 3-story castle, like that thing is getting beat up by that wind, like constantly. Like I would be shocked if there weren't drafts or
absolutely,
or other
yeah,
weird things that could be attributed to the wind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first point I'll make.
Okay.
Right. Second point, yeah, I mean, shady town, stuff could be going down, you know. It's like it's interesting that there's like multiple rooms with completely different stories.
Yeah.
That I think it sounds like they happened at like different times
Mm-hmm.
too, right?
Yeah.
So I find that interesting,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know?
Yeah.
It's nice that the place was like kept up and not like ever demolished or anything. You
or
know?
got like super decrepit or anything like that.
Yeah, or when we talked about like that haunted hotel that had like changed hands a bunch of times, wasn't there a fire or something like and parts of it got condemned and stuff?
Yep.
So yeah, so with this place, like it's held up.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to really think, yeah, anything else? I mean, I don't know how much of my like repressed sexual energy from the nuns and the Jesuit priests is gonna make the cut, but you know,
Yeah.
yeah. Going back to like the creaky cabinets that always open. I mean, like in my mind, if the cabinet like wants to open, like shutting it is actually counter to like its natural state.
Mm-hmm.
So if its natural state is open, and if there's any amount of wind that could like creak it back and forth, like yeah, it's gonna be spooky.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, we assume like most cabinets are made such that their natural state is shut.
But over time, yeah.
But over time, it might
Yeah.
get warped, and open might be the natural state that it tends to. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
stuff like that. Yeah, I'm just always skeptical of that stuff. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fact that the ghost hunters went and looked for like, you know, we're more interested in the kid aspect. I don't know. I always feel like that's if it's a high pitched, if it's like any kind of like giggling or whatever, they're always like, oh, it's a child, you know, or it's like, I don't know.
So they did catch some EVPs there.
Okay, what's EVP?
Electronic voice phenomena.
Okay.
So they use an EVP recorder to catch. They kind of they'll ask questions and then they pick up like an EVP.
Yeah.
And they did catch some weird things. Like those EVPs always weird me out because it's like, what? I mean, some of them, it's like a stretch. They'll be like, oh, they just said this. And it's like, where'd you get that? Like, how'd you get there? But
Right.
some of them that I've heard over the years, not necessarily at this one,
Yeah.
but different EVPs that I've heard over the years are very clear, and it's very hard to contribute that to anything else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I guess with those EVPs, right? Like, again, it goes back to like them fixating on a child is when they do the ghost hunting, it's usually adults around.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they're picking up children is like, it's this weird, like, it can't be explained by the people that are already in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I think of the opposite. I think of like, if you took a bunch of kids to a haunted place and then you heard kid stuff, you'd be like, okay, like which one of you kids is playing tricks?
Which one of you little shits did that?
Yeah. But when you go and you're like, we're all adults here, who could be making this kid's voice,
Yeah.
right?
They did catch a giggle too, which
Yeah.
was like, ooh,
Yeah.
don't like that.
Yeah. It's like, you're in limbo, spirit. You should be, like, not happy.
Go on, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Go on, get.
If you're happy here, something's wrong.
I mean,
It's like you're not moving on because you're happy here.
I love fucking with people. I might enjoy being, but you'd have to be there with me, and I don't think you'd be very happy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like the Good Place.
Yeah.
That fucking wrecked me. That
Yeah.
shit fucking wrecked me. That
Yeah.
that
The
last
ending with
episode.
Chidi
And Eleanor.
yeah.
Oh God, guys, if you haven't watched The Good Place, highly recommend.
Yeah. Not on Apple TV.
Not on Apple TV.
I think it's on Netflix.
I think it's
now.
on Peacock too.
Yeah, it might be on Peacock. Definitely on Netflix, I
Yeah.
think. It's an old like NBC or CBS show.
Yeah. I think it was NBC.
Yeah.
I watched the finale.
That'll explain Peacock.
I watched the finale right before.
Fucking. Okay.
I
sorry.
watched the finale like the weekend before our wedding. So I was
Oh.
already in like high emotional, you know,
Yeah.
just stressed out, getting ready for everything. And I watched that and I was like I lost my shit. And Adam, I like went in the bathroom and he's like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm okay. But that one hit me so hard.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, she finally found her true love and they did it. Isn't it forever's not long enough?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that show.
You remember those days? You're like, I don't want to cry in front of you. Just give me a moment to cry alone.
Yeah. I still don't like to cry in front of you, but sometimes it just happens.
Yeah.
More so now, like when we're watching TV and like I'll tear up and you're like, oh, you're crying.
You do that to me. I don't do that to you. You're projecting right now. Anytime there's like a sad thing, you look over at me and I'm like wiping away a single tear and you're like, you crying over there? And I look over and you're like, Niagara Falls. Like, and it's like, why are you giving me shit? Like, it's a very emotional scene. Obviously, it is affecting us both.
Not Niagara Falls.
I know. Takes me to Scrooge.
I know.
Whenever they see their mom.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, yeah. So with that, we're going to say goodbye for the week. As always, thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and download our show, as well as leaving us a 5-star rating or review for the show on whatever platform you're listening on. All of these really help us become more visible, like I said, to more people, and it helps us grow the show. Also, you can help us out by sharing us with your friends and family, social media, all the things. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, all Creepy Cascadia Pod. Also, check out our website, creepycascadiapod.com. If you have a show topic or your own story of a creepy incident, true crime, send us an email to admin@creepycascadiapod.com. But yeah.
Left out Bigfoot. You always add Bigfoot.
And Bigfoot. I want to see Bigfoot so bad.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What's our Spotify one? That's the number one that people keep being like, oh, are you guys on Spotify?
Yeah, it's just Creepy Cascadia Podcast.
Okay.
Just look up Creepy Cascadia.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, with that, next week is our 1-year anniversary. We're going to do something fun. We don't know what yet, but we're going to do something fun.
Yeah.
And we hope everybody has a great week. Again, thank you guys all so much for the people who have already rated us and reviewed us and shared us with your friends and family. We really, really appreciate it. Like, hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We wouldn't do this if we didn't have listeners, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a decent amount of work for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we enjoy it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, if we really had no listeners, it'd be like,
We can just make ourselves laugh.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we hope everybody has a good week, and we will see you guys back next week for a brand new tale of something awesome. Or maybe terrible, but try something awesome for our anniversary episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.